Welcome to the video podcast. My name is Florence Straka. This video podcast is all about blogging, life experiences, inspiration, and mindset. In today's episode, I am going to continue from where I was finally released from the hospital after 3.5 months and starting to go to college. That is high school. So once I was released and came back to the village with my mom, we have to decide, how am I going to go to my senior high? Because I was supposed to go to the boarding school. We cannot afford a boarding. I cannot go to a boarding school. So we have to find out where am I going to stay, because I'm no longer closer to where we are living. I will take a bus about two towns, which is far off before I get there. And so it's going to be driving, taking a bus back and forth. But that cannot happen because you don't have money to be paying every day for bus in and out. So we have to decide, I have to stay somewhere. And my mom knew a lady who she worked with when she was traveling, going back to Nigeria doing the trading. So she contacted this lady, lives in the town that the high school is. So she agreed because my mom was good to her. She stayed with my mom before, so she agreed. So I have to go and stay with this lady. And so, as I'm saying this, I'm still limping. I'm not fully healed. So I cannot stay in a boarding school because I need to be treating the wound. I still have some wound. It's healing. You don't see the wound, but the wound is inside. It's covered a little bit. So I have to treat the wound. So I need a place where I can use hot water with towel morning and evening. And so this lady agreed. I moved in. My mom brought me with all my things. It was a huge move because now I have to stay here a week before I go back home. And with all that, walking to the school, from the town to the school, it's a little bit far. I would say probably maybe a half a mile before I go to the school. So it's in a walking distance. And you can imagine me limping. Oh, it wasn't easy, but I have to. So I will limp. I have to start ahead. If we are supposed to be at school at 7:30, I have to start at least by 7. So then little by little, I'll be able to get to school on time. And I did that continuously for almost a year. Every week, every Friday, I have to leave and go back home, because that is the only way I'll be able to get some money, some food to bring back for the coming week. And before I start the college, I went to my father with a limping. I went back to the Accra to visit him. He wasn't able to give me anything much. My mom and I, we had to figure it out and struggle. We decided, she started selling porridge. We make porridge from corn, fermented corn. We ground it. We add some spices to it, ginger, dry pepper, and there is some herbs too we use, and we mix all that. We ground it, and then the corn, the fermented corn. This way we have the custard, which is mixed with the herbs separately from the actual grounded corn, and then we sieve it and make a little liquid from it, and that's all we use to make the porridge. And it's a lot of work, and my mom alone cannot do this, because this is what she started doing. So I'll be able to get money every week to be taken to school, and also all the things that I will need to be buying, the school fees and all that. So we have decided that every week I have to go back home. So that was the plan, and that's what we have carried for the 3 years that I went to school. I started in 1992. That's when I started my high school, and it was 3 years. So 92 to 93, 94, 95, it's where, because 92 was almost ending into 93. So it was 3 years. So 93, 94, 95, middle, almost ending of 95 is when I finished at the high school. So imagine every weekend I have to go back home. Every weekend I have to go back home. So I've been doing that, and that is the only way I can help, for her to be able to help me. She's doing the farming because throughout the week I'm not home. So I'm not helping, because when I was before, I do the cooking. I go to the farm and help. And then in the evening, I bring the food, the firewood, and start cooking. By the time they get home at 6 to 7, food is ready for them to eat, and they just have to take a bath, and then we go to bed. That was the routine. But now that I'm no longer there throughout the week, she have to do all those things. And what I'm talking about is the farming, the cooking, the water, going to the stream to fetch water, all that she have to do, all this throughout the week, selling the porridge. The porridge requires a lot of water, so she have to do all that. So I have to go back home every weekend. And by the time that Friday, we soak the corn, the dry corn, in water. And so I get home in the evening, Friday, probably 7, 8, before I get home. And then what I'm talking about is I take the bus from the school, get to the town where we were living before we moved to the village. So when we get to the town, I have to walk the 2.5 or 3 miles. Sometimes if I'm lucky, I might get some taxi. But, if there is no money, I walk. So I would say 80% is just walking. So every Friday I get home, she soaks the corn for me. And so the next morning, which is Saturday, I drain the corn, and I have to walk, because where we grind, we use a machine to grind the corn. And it's not like having a blender or anything like that. We don't have those. We use a traditional mill. We use a mill to grind the corn. So there is a place where they have mills, like the next town, which is a little bit bigger than our village. They have mills in different locations. So we have to go, and the same mill is what the town is using for grounding their dry corn, their fermented corn, their cassava, everything. So if you go, you have to go early, because there is a huge line. Even though they have them in different places, sometimes because they use manpower and oil, it's not like electric. They have electric ones, but most of them have the oil, where they use the engine oil and put it in, and that's what propel the machine when they start it, and then use it to mill. So sometimes if there is no light, because they have 2 options, they can connect it with light, and then if there is no light, then they will go back to the original manual, using the oil to do it, for the machine to use to ground the corn. So sometimes there are huge lines. And then now, if there's so much line and we don't have time, so then I have to go to the quarters where I used to go to my junior high. They also have one mill there. Sometimes you get that there is so much line. Sometimes I wasn't able to ground, because you'll be there for so many hours. And this was the routine. Sometimes by the time I get home, like 10, 9 in the evening. And then I have to sieve it all and fetch water. Make sure I fetch enough water to fill everything we have for Mom, because Sunday evening I have to be leaving. So that Saturday, while I'm doing all this, they have already gone to the farm. My mom have gone to the farm to work, because it's Saturday. And so I have to make sure I have those corn grounded. I fetch water, I sieve the corn, make sure everything is set. And then so Sunday we go to church. If I can, if I could not, then I have to make sure I fetch water. We use sugar and sometimes roasted peanut. She added those to the porridge before she go and sell them in the next village. So I make sure I roasted the peanut, tied it in a little plastics, in a little portion where for the selling price. And then also the sugar, also I have to tie them in a little portions in a plastic. I have to make sure I have all those done for her before I leave Sunday evening. Sometimes I leave maybe 5 or 6 in the evening, and then I go to walk 2.5 miles to 3 to the town before I take the bus to go to school. So then I go to where I'm living. Sometimes I get there probably 9, and then I have to get ready Monday for school. So we have school assignments. Sometimes I don't even get to finish them before going back to school on Monday. So it was adventurous. It was a challenge, a real life challenge. I'm not kidding you. It was a challenge because every week I have to go home. And as I left, on Sunday to go back home, throughout the week, mom is the one who is doing these things. But the thing that helps a little bit is because the way we make the corn, it lasts throughout the week. So by Friday, we have to do a new batch. That is where she soaked the corn for me. Saturday, I go back. So it's just, I go to the mill to mill the corn, come home, sieve it, make sure the water, everything is ready. Sunday morning, I roasted the peanut, the sugar, tight everything, the peanut, the sugar, everything, make sure everything is ready before I leave. So this is the routine. This is the process every week for 3 years. For 3 years. So that was the routine. For me to be able to finish my high school, this was the routine my mom and I went through for 3 years. So with all these 3 years that I was living somewhere else, going to the high school, the beatings, the maltreatment, it's all going on. It's still going on. It's still going on because sometimes when I get home and with all these things in my mind, I could not even study. I couldn't because I'm always worried about my mom because I know it's happening. I know it's happening. I wasn't happy. I wasn't a happy child going to high school. I wasn't. Even junior high, I wasn't. Because I'm not seeing it anymore, but I know it's happening. And every week when I get home, people will tell the story. People will say, so your mom will not leave this guy? They don't tell me much, but this is the things they will say. They say, this your stepfather is no good. Why is your mom still living with this guy? But then I realize now that I'm part of it. Because now that I'm in high school, if we leave now, all our things is here. Our produce, our farming produce, everything we have is here in this village. On the land of these guys, my stepfather. All our farming, everything. Where do we go right now to start life afresh? Where do we go? So I said 3 years. Oh, Jesus, help us through. Jesus, carry us through this challenge. Let us overcome it. And so this continued. A year 1 has passed for me. And I was where I was living. And actually, I have to leave the lady because now I became, what do you call it, a maid. Because I'm living with them, I have to help. I clean, I sweep, clean the house. And the woman, they sell palm wine. So this is something else. A palm wine, the palm wine fruit, the palm wine tree, we use it to make palm wine, which is a wine, a liquid wine, alcoholic. So that's what she sells. The woman's mother sells. And I'm living with them. So we have to go and carry the palm wine from the farm where they tap the palm wine. And imagine I'm limping. So all this is a hassle. We have to go. I can't say I cannot go. And because they cook, they feed me too. Even though I take food with me, they cook and give me a real food. Because what I was living on is gari and shito. It's one of those common college food that every collegian have. If you are going to college, you must have this in your cupboard or in your luggage because it's just an easy meal to eat anytime. But they cook a real food and I eat. So when I come home from weekend, I bring food and I give it to them because we produce all the vegetables, things like that. I bring some home because those are the things that we grow all the time. So whatever we have, I bring some to them. So because they feed me and we contribute. I also contribute. So they will send me with there was another girl there who will go to this farm to carry this palm wine in a gallon on our head and bring home to them. Doing all this while I was still limping on my feet. So that has been another challenge, another life experience for me, and I'm sharing this with you. And as you go about your day today, I want these to be inspirations for you, because this is my life. This is a life I have experienced from childhood. I cannot believe I am even alive here today and giving you this story of my life. I can't believe it. Even where I am right now, this environment that I am right now, I cannot believe it that I'm here. And I believe it must be in my lifeline. It must be something that I have to experience in life and be able to share this, which took me a very long time to decide to share this with you, to give you some perspective of life, that there are so many people out there going through so many things in life, but they never give up. They never give up, because there is always a way out. There is always a way. So if you are watching this on YouTube, leave any comments for me, subscribe, and also wherever you listen to your podcast. I hope your day goes well, and I will see you in the next video. If you want to know more about me, there are so many episodes that I made. You can watch those. Those can give you some type of inspiration. And I'll see you.